Yeah. Check it out. Hey, you already know what it is. It's the Status Podcast. We got a special guest as well. My name is Mr. James Mack,
It's the Shantastic one, Mr. Flowers.
and we got a special guest for y'all today. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, my name is Kesley Billion.
That's Cassidy right there. She gonna speak on some of the topics tonight. Now we got a special topic tonight. We got part 2 of our studs, lesbian studs, the new black men. I know that's controversial, but we gotta address it again because last time Mr. Flowers wasn't able to address it.
We was having some technical difficulties. We was traveling in the whole 9 yards, but we're in the place right now.
And we also want to get we wanted to get a woman's point of view and somebody that rally for the LGBT
I
community.
do, yes.
Okay.
My uncle's gay. My best friends, I was gonna tell David, I'm like, you need to tune in. I have like a lot of friends and everything, and I'm excited to hear about this topic, what it really means.
Yeah. So we gonna see what's good. Right now we're gonna roll some from our sponsors and we're gonna come right back. So y'all just hold tight, get ready to clock on, y'all, because it's gonna be a good show tonight. All right. Yeah, all right, we back. You already know what it is. Now, initially, we were supposed to have an actual lesbian stud, representing the cause, but she kind of flaked out on us or whatever, or she had something else she had to do,
I'm here.
So we got, our original
Kesley Billion.
Kesley Billion. I like that billion.
I love the billion.
You know what I mean?
Manifestation.
You know?
That's what it is,
So before we start, Kesley, they know about us. Tell them a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I have a jewelry store here in Brickell in Miami. All sterling silver, gemstones. I opened in August of 2020. So it was very interesting, the time period that I started and how we've been able to grow since then. Basically first year, literally during the pandemic. Second year was like us getting out of the pandemic, and finally we're kind of like, not 1,000%, out of it, but we're definitely at a much safer zone. So it's been a very interesting journey, opening up the store during that time and having it running right now.
Also, I want you to let them know, what's your, I guess, your sexuality title or whatnot, or what do you claim yourself as, or how do you go about, your lifestyle?
Yeah, so I would consider myself to be,
And you could be honest.
I don't know.
You could be honest.
Like, I'm like, so, I'm straight. I like men, but I think that we all have fantasies. I think everyone has fantasies. I don't know if it's true or not, but
This gonna be a good show.
Yeah, I've realized that I have fantasies, and they're literally only fantasies, because when it comes to actually going to that other side, I'm actually not interested, which is very interesting, and it has helped me understand other aspects of what a relationship could be like, and different type of I would say, I guess, infidelities. It doesn't always have to be infidelity for some people could be a fantasy, but anyway, so yeah, I'm straight, but I have fantasies.
Okay, that's a limited version of what she's saying.
I don't know what you feel about that, Mr. Flowers.
Well,
what's your take?
Of course, everybody has fantasies, but you're saying that you have fantasies that you would never act upon.
Yes.
Okay, and why is that?
When it's in front of me, I'm just not interested.
Are you not interested, or you're not comfortable?
I'm not interested. I feel like I've tried, and then I'm just because I'm a woman, I understand the woman body, and actually another woman, knowing that we have the same body part and everything doesn't interest me. I only like to watch it on TV, or on my laptop, if that makes sense. It's so strange. It's something that is so unexplainable, but it's just I don't, I don't imagine myself also like cuddling with a girl because I'm just like, oh no, like I kind of like want a guy and a man and everything. And I also wouldn't agree with my like significant other being with other girls. It's so weird because I just don't think that any other girl like tops me. And I feel like maybe that's how it is too. Like maybe with another girl, I'm just like you're not. I don't know if no, I don't think I've met anyone that I have been attracted to or have with a guy, for instance. Like I'll try to like if someone doesn't have to be specifically what I'm looking for, and I'm 100% attracted to when we take it to the next level. I could never. I try to do that with girls, whether they're hot or not, but like I just don't. And it's like I've had friends, like for instance, that will flirt with me and stuff, and then when I feel like they might do something, I'm like, okay, no. I'm just not interested. It's so weird. I kind of like, and I feel, I mean, I could be wrong, but I feel like men might have that too. Do you guys ever like have you ever like maybe seen a girl that you might be attracted to, and when you start talking, you're like, okay, no, it was just kind of like for the moment, or no?
I kind of feel what you're saying, but I mean, for me, I kind of know off the bat.
You kind of know what off the bat?
Yeah.
If I'm attracted or not.
So do you guys have fantasies with like your same sex?
Hell no.
Oh, we gotta kick her off the show, y'all.
Hell no. No. And I've, living in Atlanta for a period of time, I've actually had grown men actually approach me and shoot their shot. Mm-hmm. Just to be completely transparent. And I felt what you
They will try.
Yeah, but this is Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? And so I've had guys to walk up to me and shoot their shot. And I guess I felt how I guess a woman would feel if you was approached by someone who you just was not interested in. Mm-hmm. And I guess I kind of felt violated. To a certain
okay.
You say you felt violated.
I felt violated because I'm like, whoa, where did that come from?
Right.
And then at the same time, we was in a crowd, so it was like I had to tell the individual in a nice kind of sort of way because of course, mm-hmm.
Right.
What they call it? You don't want. Well, he offended me, so I didn't have a problem with offending him. But in this day and age, in this PC world, this politically correct world, there's certain things that you can and can't do, or you'll be on Instagram, Facebook. You'll be viral.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then, of course, once you go viral, then all of the LGBTQ, community will be after you based on he came at me. I defended myself, but now I'm being attacked. So I had to figure out a way to do it in a polite, cordial kind of way.
Right. That makes sense. I had a situation.
I had to figure out how to decline the offer.
Let
me specify that. I had to be able to decline the offer in a PC kind of way.
Right. I feel like it's very dynamic because I had a situation. I remember I went to Vegas once and I had a friend who sat next to me and she touched me and I felt that she crossed the line. And it almost felt the same as if a guy who I didn't want to touched me because I just didn't I thought she was definitely attractive and everything, but I wasn't I didn't consent to it. I didn't want it. She had a boyfriend. I just felt very uncomfortable about the whole situation. And I almost didn't even want to talk to her after that. And I was just like, oh my God, stop, And she kept trying and stuff. And finally I had to be like, hey, you need to stop.
Right.
And then I've had other friends that will say things they'll flirt, whatever. And but it never gets to that place. And I know it's not going to. And, but if it did, I think I would feel that way as well. And, I guess it all depends on how the person approaches you. Cause if someone's aggressive.
Well, the way that this one particular incident, the way that it went down, I was in 5 Points. I don't know if you're familiar with Atlanta, but we was in 5 Points. And I guess he was getting off the train and I was going to the restaurant over to the Waffle House over there. Mm-hmm. And he was like, I guess how a guy would call a female, like, hey, shout it, Right. You know what I'm saying? And so I was like, what is he talking to me? It was one of those situations. But, again, I had to go the PC route. I mean, I've had a couple incidents. One incident, it was like raining real bad, and I was just so happy to be exercising one day
Mm-hmm.
when I was fit, of course, but but I was exercising one day, and it just so happened it started. I mean, the bottom fell out, so it was storming real bad, and so it was a car that was rolling down the street. Was like, hey, can I get you a ride somewhere? I was like, no, I'm straight. And he was like, dude, it's fucking raining. Let me get you. I said, I'm just going right here. And I don't know what said, but I was like, okay. So I got in the car with the guy, and he took off. We got to where we was going, or where I was going, and he kept going.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, in my head, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to pull out Mr. Military now. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have to pull out this. I'm gonna have to pull this trained killer out.
Yeah.
And so he pulled over and he was like, hey man, can I suck your dick? Just blatantly. And I'm like, what? You know what I'm saying? What is?
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
So I was like, nah, bro, I don't get down like that. Whatever you do, you do. But I don't get down like that. So then he leaned over on the, reached down on the driver's side and pulled out his pistol. He was like, dude, I'm glad you didn't get belligerent, because had you gotten crazy, I'd have killed you.
Wow, that you never get in the car with strangers. Oh my God, that's what
you know what I'm saying. But I was like, dude, just what I'm saying. And my grandma, I was literally going to see my grandmother, and my grandmother was like, I guess she saw I was kind of shook once I got inside the building, and she was like, what's wrong with you? And me, in my manhood, I didn't want to tell her, like, dude, this right here just, and I had just got home from the military, so I was still in that military state of mind, and so she was like, I was wrong, and I told her, and she just bust out laughing. She was like, that was your crazy ass kid.
Right.
But
how did you feel though when she started laughing? Because I have a situation where something happened to me, and I remember telling my mom, and she laughed about it, and later on it got worse. And I remember when she laughed, I thought to myself, wow, I can understand why some people actually never talk about it, or why some people don't talk about it. One, because they might feel that others are not taking them serious. They may not believe them, or so. Like, how did you feel when she laughed about it?
Well, when she laughed about it, well, first
or were
of all,
you like, whatever?
It was, to me, I guess it was more of like a pressure release.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because I was uptight, and then seeing her laugh about it kind of just made me like
okay,
you know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's
like,
good.
yeah,
Right.
I was fucking stupid, to get in the car. But it was a pressure. And big ups to grandma, by the way. She just turned 89 just
Happy
the other
birthday.
day. So happy birthday,
grandma.
But yeah, so it was just one of those situations where it was just a real crazy incident, real crazy. And I could have either one, killed somebody, or two, gotten killed based on a proposition, a crazy proposition.
Your fantasies.
But
wait, they're not your fantasies.
but I learned from, and it took me going to Uncle Sam's military. It took me to go into the military to understand, the LBC2, LGBTQ, TQ. So many letters, I forget the whole but to understand that lifestyle, because there's so many in the military. You know what I'm saying? And then you're literally training with them, or you're literally training, you're literally fighting with them, or whatever the case is. And so you have to relate to individuals because of what you see, and you don't want to alienate anybody.
Yeah. What about you, James?
Let me make a disclaimer right now. We're not trying to disrespect the community, the LGBTQ community. So if it's, we just coming with our opinion. You feel me? Also, respect to everybody in your lifestyle. We're just coming with our opinion. So we just want to put that out there. I want to pull something up on the screen real quick, okay? This is what we talking about tonight, all right? Because we just had the show getting spicy already. Check this out. I should have said art, right? The stud female, the new black man. And as you can see in this picture, they going to the extremes, doing things to try to be a man. I'm just saying, it's getting wild out here. So, Kesley, what I want to ask you is, first of all, what is your take on stud females?
So, in other words, it's a woman who wants to like be like a man and look like a man and take over, like, I think it's a good thing. I mean, you know what?
Whoa. Uh-oh.
Here's the thing. I recently fractured my fibula, and I reached out to the guys I was talking to during that time. I reached out to my friends that were girls, and the guys that I was talking to, none of them were there for me, but the girls, my friends, actually, they wheeled me out of my apartment, and I was like, and kidding around, I told my one guy, the guy I was dating, I was like, you know what, maybe I should be a lesbian. I'm like, guys, you're not here for me, but my girlfriends are here for me. I'm like, if it wasn't for them, I would be at the hospital. So, but you know what, I think that, scientifically it's not possible, but I do think that people can acquire the look for sure, and if they can act like a man, like, well, I think would the girl then have to act like a man and start ignoring women?
Man.
I'm not sure. You'd have to like start like, is it like someone who is going to look like a guy, or is it like, I guess so we might bring chivalry back, right? Is that what it is, or is that what it's called, chivalry?
So,
but then we got
go ahead, Mr.
First of all,
Flowers.
I don't think chivalry ever left. I think it's the certain type of men that females come across, so they're attracted to and I honestly believe that female, and we've talked about this on previous shows, females nowadays tend to go after a certain type of guy.
What would you say that type is, where there are different types?
Females nowadays, they have their fantasy, so to say, is with the bad guy.
Okay.
So the good guy is still around, but he's not being paid attention to because you're going after the bad guy.
Do you think you're going after the wrong woman?
No. I don't think I'm going after the wrong women. I think that most women are going after the wrong men.
I feel like I look for a guy who is like settled, who's studious. I love when, I feel like I look for good guys, but I do think that it comes to like, it depends of who's looking for,
So let me ask you a question. So if you meet two guys, right? One guy is good looking, has a swag about himself, who drives the fancy car, he's very well off financially, right? But he gets his lifestyle, he gets his money and income a certain type of way. Right?
Yeah, what's that type of way? What's that about?
Then you have a same on this hand. You have a good looking guy who is professional, who is humbled, who is the chivalry guy, who is the guy that would kind of give you the world, but he's kind of quirky and nice.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all about personality and the soul and everything. So, I mean, as long as someone has like a good schedule, goes to work, wants a family, and like likes to go out here and there, that's good, Because I mean, someone could have a lot of money, but then if they don't have good communication skills and they're a little bit weird and everything, I mean, you're setting up yourself for failure. But I'm also like an independent woman, like, where I'm just kind of like, I don't need a man.
Oh my goodness.
So for me, it's I really take my time to make sure that I am dating a good person. If I see that someone is actually not a good person, then I mean, it's just not going to go anywhere, because I have a business, so I have to make sure it's someone I can trust with money, with my apartment, with everything, and it's someone that I want to look up to.
Could you see yourself dating a stud?
No, because I need other things. Like I want to have 10 kids.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, I could have
they got
the stud.
IVF,
for sure.
Well, now you have and I brought this up to the young lady who's supposed to be on the show, but you have the young lady.
You know what? I could date a stud if I get fooled. People get fooled. Like,
well, no, there's no foolery. They still have.
Hold on, wait a minute. Look.
What if they tell me they?
I'm saying that ain't.
I think I would. Yeah.
You think you could do that?
I want to hear the voice. I think actually, yeah. It's
what
very
if the
handsome,
voice was very white style like that?
Yeah, I like the haircut. I like the beard. Nice teeth, very beautiful eyes.
And then she could pull that thing out the drawer and.
Well, and they might say, hey, I just want to take you on dates. So you're like too scared to tell me like really what's going on. And I might go on dates, like the best dates. Like they might treat me very well.
They gonna do that.
It could happen.
They gon'
I'm not gonna say unfortunately. Like, here's the thing though. If that did happen, I feel that I would cheat on my son.
A lot of them do.
Yeah, because
A lot of them do.
there's other things that I like need.
Like what?
But what? Oh, go ahead. Like what?
I like the masculine energy.
But they're living in their masculine energy.
But they're still getting their periods.
That person right there is getting a period. That's crazy.
I'll give it. Yeah.
Yeah, they still. I mean, but that's the whole purpose of a dom stud type of person. They're living in their masculine energy.
Is it a transgender?
It could be.
Well, a possibility.
They
But
could have the top surgery, the bottom surgery, and you know what I mean.
and then okay. So I look at it from this perspective, right? What happens if this stud takes you or dom or whatever the correct term for it? I don't know what the correct.
We need to get the correct term.
So, what happens if this masculine female?
Because it could be STEM too.
So what happens if this? So what happens if this masculine female who's living in her masculine energy takes you out? Y'all have some drinks, the whole 9 yards. She literally is wearing her, whatever in the club.
Don't put that thing on.
So yeah, you might be checking her out, because
I think it's right. Well, it's a stud. He's very good looking.
Right.
I don't think you could say it, Mr.
You can't say it?
No.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Well, you know what? At this point, we don't know what they identify themselves as, so we will call him because it's a stud. We're going to call stud.
Okay. So you're in a club.
Or a dyke, right?
I don't know.
There's a difference, I think.
What's the difference?
We should have brought the community.
We had the community here. The community flaked on us.
But we are a community. You know what? I think that everyone has a different. This actually could be a very fun podcast with like a whole bunch of different personalities because it's very dynamic. I don't even think that one specific person because there is. There's just so many different.
There's so many different levels.
You the closest to knowing what's really going on in the community.
And you can really start almost like an argument, hopefully a healthy argument, but I feel like people won't really come up to a conclusion of what's right and what's wrong because of different states have different laws. Ways of doing things, have different laws. Right. So I think in the US more than anything, it's very complex. More than in other country, I would say.
Well, not only because of laws, but because also of the religious dynamics that plays a part in the US.
Right.
Too. We have more, most countries is either Catholic or Muslim or whatever the case is. We have multiple.
So many religions, so many cultures, so many things. So, yeah, I feel, it's interesting because, when I was in California, it was like very big, the pronouns is huge. You don't hear about pronouns really in Miami. At least I don't. And it's because the Spanish, I would say community is they're not really word. We all understand that it exists everywhere, but it's just, we're not especially if a Spanish person comes here from Venezuela, they're just trying to learn English. They're not trying to be no, that's just complicated for them. You know what I mean? Right. And I feel like here also, we're just having much more fun. It's just let's just, I feel like in California, it's probably a little colder and people are okay, let's make a big deal out of this. That's just but I don't know. I just feel like in the Spanish culture, it's just okay, if he's a man, he's a man. If he's a woman, he's a woman. There's not that much. I feel like in the US, we just want to be okay, we're this, we're that. We want to go against whatever's in the books and make new things all the time. So it is a very interesting topic. But anyway, you said if I saw a stud.
So if you're in the club, you have gone out on this date with this stud, right? Dom, whatever the stud. We're just gonna use stud, right? So for the sake of the show, we're just gonna use stud. So you met this stud. Y'all go out on a date.
Yeah.
And then.
But you thought it was a man.
You're being.
Or some parts.
Your perception of this individual is a man at the time.
Right.
Then of course y'all you're having a good time. Y'all out to eat. You start drinking, of course. I don't know if you drink or not, but you guys start having some drinks and so forth, and then it gets heated. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so it gets heated. You give you a kiss. You're wow from this kiss, oh my God,
best kiss ever. Right?
You know what I'm saying? And then of course, he works his way, start working his way down. You don't even understand at this point that it's not a man yet.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so you're in awe of this individual because the kissing is good. They know how to do what they do with the tongue and all that kind of stuff. And then pull this plastic out, unpants, in some cases might not even pull it all. You know what I'm saying? He might just unzip, might not even take it all the way off. Take the pants all the way off, just unzip and go. You're halfway drunk. It's dark. You're lit. You're in the mood.
I have no idea until
whatever the case
when do
is.
I find out? Like how long after?
You don't find out till you don't
day.
find out till after y'all finish doing what y'all do.
I mean,
but it's one of the best experiences you had.
With you, I mean, I wish. I wish this scenario was actually like a real thing, but I feel like I would definitely find out at some point.
Because they make them things now where even if you grab it, you might this feels real. They got the realistic plastic thing.
I probably, you know what? I just feel like I actually drink a lot.
So
everything I do when I drink.
So this is something that could possibly happen.
I feel like it would only happen if I was roofied at this point, because I'd be like, okay, what am I about to do? Because I have to check out to make sure that they don't have any like STDs or anything like that going on. I think I'm a very much more of a cautious person. So here's the thing. I don't think I am the best example for this because.
So you've never had a one night stand?
Yeah, but I always just make sure that I there's always some type of lighting or something at some point.
Turn on the lights.
But when you're inebriated, like if you're in a club, clubs are dark.
Listen, here's the thing. I hear things about the gay community. I hear I hear that the gay community.
No, no, wait. I'm 100%.
I heard guys. Well, no, but you could be straight, but you still are a man. And I heard guys are quick wherever. Girls are that.
I heard it's like that in Miami.
Will, like do it anywhere,
Yeah, they doing it in bathrooms down here.
In the bathrooms and everything. Girls might do that maybe when they're like in college, whatever. But like as we get older, it's kind of like it's just not gonna happen like that. Like I feel like for me, it's like when I was younger, I was in a sorority and I had all my fun, but it was never like where I didn't get to see, and as I get older, I'm just much more selective just because
and what if they're not even trying to fool you? What if they just come out and say, you know what, I'm a female, I'm like you, I'm into you, whatever the case is. What if they're still a stud? What if they still have they're living in their masculine energy? What if they still have a manly look? You know what I'm saying? And they just tell you up front, because a lot of them are bold. They'll just tell you.
Right. I mean, it would be a very interesting thing to try out. Why not? I just
that's how they get you.
Just because I haven't had it happen to me yet. It's hard for me to specifically say. However, I know that I like a man.
Right.
Yeah, I think that the stud would be able to get me emotionally if the stud starts calling me, because I've realized that there's several types of love. So for me, I can fall for someone very deeply if
y'all pay attention now.
Calling me, asking me how my day is and all that. So I might fall into that cycle. Now, I am unique in the sense that I'm also very easy at letting go. So at some point I'd be like, okay, no, I need something else. You know what I mean? I think I'm at the age where I have a lot of options.
So what's your love language?
You see, that's the thing. My love language is I would say physical touch, and I feel like and communication. So they'd be able to do.
So where's the affirmation and
I mean, they're good, but it's not necessary. As long as they're not putting me down, you know what I mean? If someone's,
where's the affirmation?
Yeah, but I don't need someone to be like, oh wow, the type. I feel like I can tell by just looking at someone's I can tell if someone's into me or not. There has been relationships that I'm in that I'm like, I don't see it in their eyes, and they don't work out. Kind of and there's some that you're just like, oh my God, we're both looking at each other's soul. So I feel like I don't necessarily need words of affirmation. I need more of the physical touch. And that's the thing, I would have to touch real. You know what I mean? You see, I'm not.
I want to ask you a question, Mr. Flowers.
What's up?
Are you intimidated by studs?
Yeah.
Am I intimidated?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely not.
Why
Are
not?
you sure?
You say, am I sure?
Yeah, because nowadays I could see a lot of people will take a stud over.
A man.
Yeah.
A real man.
I'm not in. Well,
A stud wouldn't argue that.
Without getting too, everybody know I'm completely transparent, but it's a certain individual that's in my past that I don't want to call out. So
It's a stud.
was a stud,
Okay.
who was a dominant female who had plenty women before me, right? And then of course, her and I got together, and then of course she, became, if she wasn't already straight, I don't know if that was a phase or what, but she was already,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? So it was, so am I intimidated by them? No.
Oh, you think you can convert?
I
Use a
have.
converter.
Oh. So you didn't turn a stud out.
Well, I think it was more along the lines of I kind of gave her what she was not looking for. You know what I'm saying? So, like you just said, you're an emotional type of person, or somebody. I gave her that attention that she probably wasn't getting from that. So I don't know. I don't know
Right.
if it was. I don't know if it was me converting her or me just opening that door for her.
Mm.
You understand what I'm saying? And so I'm not trying to sit here and say I'm the shit, which I mean I am the shit, but I'm not sitting here trying to say that I'm the shit. But that was a situation in that particular situation.
Right.
So you think you could change studs around?
I didn't say that. I
think
said
based on the love language of the person, I think. That's
right.
What you're
I think I gave
saying.
her I think I gave her what she was lacking from that.
Right. She probably had it. Maybe she physically, she might have liked that part, but she didn't feel complete because maybe she didn't. That wasn't even her initial love language. Maybe.
Let me ask you this: how much stud was she? Was she wearing the jeans and the boxers? Or was
Listen, she was.
Did she look like that?
She
Like
she didn't have no beard and no shit like that. You know what I'm saying? But she was. You know what I'm saying? She was.
you guys were boys first.
She was a
Okay.
very attractive female. You know what I'm saying? When I came along, and how all I said to her, how our initial conversation went.
she was a very attractive female that wore dudes' clothes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, at the time, she was. She had the male swag. the
No
whole
haircut?
Was
nine
it like
yards.
short hair or was it like longer?
No,
or-
she had the long hair, but she always wore it in a ponytail.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So she was. You know what I'm saying? She was a very attractive female.
I mean, when they get naked, women in.
No, I mean,
Anyway.
but she was a very. And all I said to her was, "Ooh, you got a beautiful smile." You know what I'm saying?
To the stud.
That's all I said.
Now
to her.
some of that. Now you could say that to some studs, and they'll pull that thing out on you like, man, I ain't playing with you, bro.
But again, you have certain situations. In this particular situation,
You see, a girl wouldn't say that to another girl, so probably she was missing that emotional.
so I think you know what I'm saying. I think.
Did you catch her on a bad day?
I think.
Did you catch her on a lonely day?
You know what? I wouldn't tell another girl you have a nice smile. I actually feel like that's a thing that guys say to women. So maybe she was missing that like words of affirmation thing.
Right. I think it was just. I mean, I don't know if she was in a place. I don't know where her head was mentally at that time, or what she was in her life, emotionally. At the
Still
time.
women, right?
Right.
Okay.
So, you know what I'm saying? Me coming along
but girls are
and saying,
catty.
you know what I'm saying? I don't know what the situation was in her life, but that was a situation that happened.
You know what? That's the other thing. I do not think. I mean, people can try to argue this, but I feel like a stud is still a woman, and women are catty. So eventually, we're just gonna be like, I think eventually the women's side will come out.
It's,
And she'll be like,
they're still,
right?
it's still,
like a girl's a girl. Like she'll like start nitpicking at things
Right.
that girls
I'm
do.
sure if we had some stud girlfriends, they'll be able to, agree to that. Like,
they still have emotions.
right.
You know what I'm saying? They're still here, whether male or female, you still have emotions.
Right.
Right. And generally, female emotions are generally higher than men.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so she might have just been in an emotional state at the time. Who knows? But from a stud's perspective,
I don't know if you can get that now.
But I'm just saying my point of view, my opinion from about a stud is yes, they are living in their masculine energy. Yes, they have years or maybe months or maybe days of practice of living in their masculine energy. They might be copycatting what they see on television, or copycatting whom, whatever the case is, or their dad, or whatever male figure they have in their life. You know what I'm saying? And so from that perspective, yeah, they might act like me or act like a male, but they still don't possess the wiring as a male.
I think they'll beg to differ. But let me ask you this: do you see them really replacing the black man?
Well, there is an agenda being pushed here in America. You know what I'm saying?
Is this a thing right now, by the way? Is it like a topic that people are talking about right now, like a stud replacing?
And the black
Yeah.
community, yes. From a black male's perspective,
Okay.
yes. Because now there is a stat, and I want to pull this stat out. and I was the stat is Gen Z, right?
Mhm.
And that's people who was born from 98 to 2003,
Mhm.
right? Gen Z, 50% of Gen Z identifies as bisexual.
Well,
I'm a Gen Z.
so
Really?
you want to ask it?
I think everyone is. But
Everybody's
here's the
bisexual?
thing. Yeah, but I think it comes like what like whether it's
Wait,
in a
hold on,
fantasy.
wait.
I'm gonna let her finish before I jump on her.
Okay.
I think
Wait,
that,
first of all, so you bisexual?
I have tendencies.
Okay.
And if the world only had one sex, and I guess I would go to that sex, but it's not my preference. But I think that, back in the day it was just like so like controversial. Whatever you were, like, you like this, you like that. I feel like nowadays people are just like, okay, you like women, you like men, whatever, like what you like. It doesn't matter because I think that a lot of it, like older generations suppressed themselves from even their thoughts even going there. So people don't even explore it. They're just like, no, I can't think that way, and they just don't go there. But I think that the generation now, it's like, okay, let's just be free. Why not go there? Why not, like, maybe it feels good. I mean,
A stud you better watch out for them
I think
studs. I know them
it's more about like
studs.
feeling good more
Yes,
than
good.
like, oh, that's wrong in society. It's more of like, okay, what feels good?
So, from a scientific standpoint, right? Because we know that, of course, there's men and women. Some will say that as I was born this way, which is the young lady who was on the show previously said that it's a learned behavior, because she said that women kind of gravitates to, or people in that lifestyle tends to gravitate to, like either their mom or their dad or whatever the case is.
Mm-hmm.
So she was saying that it was a learned behavior. Now, I don't know how true that is, but I also want to say this. So if that's the case, if people Gen Z, which is 50% are saying that they're identifying as bisexual, and you're saying that it's kind of the lines are being blurred, so we're just basically raising a generation of fish, because fish can either go either way, you know. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that to be accusatory. I'm just saying that, because that's just from a scientific standpoint.
Yeah.
So a fish can either be a male or female.
I ain't know that.
Like a fish doesn't have genital.
Really?
Right.
Actually, I didn't know that either.
So you know what I'm saying? So yeah,
Slice it up and throw it in the pan anyway.
Yeah. So you'll never see a fish with a penis. You know what I'm saying? You'll never see it.
Yeah, I ain't never seen no fish with no penis.
I never looked, but
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, so we're just raising a generation of fish. You can either pick which one you want to, versus being, since the lines, because you're starting to see rappers, you're starting to see entertainers, and I always say life imitates art. So you're starting to see entertainers come out with dresses. You're starting to see, and I know, I ain't gonna say I know him, but I've met RuPaul before. And where I'm from in Pensacola, they have the Gay Pride Parade every Memorial Day weekend, and they have a parade going up and down the beach. So they actually have a function to cap off the big event, and I literally doing the sound system for that particular event.
Man, listen, somebody disrespected me the other day and said I look like RuPaul. I was like, man, don't ever in your life disrespect me like that again.
But RuPaul is actually
I just see it with makeup.
But the thing is even though he made a lifestyle is dressing like a woman, RuPaul has a family. RuPaul is a straight man.
Real.
Just like an
I can't be a straight man if he dressing up.
Well, he's a
that's like Bad Bunny. He recently did Harper's Bazaar. He did a page spread for them, and he's wearing a dress in one of them.
That's not
and
cool.
He says in one of his posts, he's like, I don't dress like a woman. I don't dress like a man. I wear clothes you're never gonna wear. So, which is very interesting. But if you look at back in the day, even like Pompeii, and everything that they got from Pompeii, it used to be like, everyone with everyone. And also, if you go back in the day, also men used to wear dresses and jewelry and pearls and everything. And at some point, all of that changed, and it was like a man can't wear a pearl necklace, you know. And it was like, in some cultures, I mean, in Pakistan, a lot of men still wear pearls for their wedding, you know. And it's all of a sudden they're coming back, and people are like, oh, like that's gay, or maybe like, can I wear that and not look, you know? But it's like, wait, these are like things that people were actually back in the day. I don't know.
Well, I do know for a fact that earrings was actually a man's thing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then of course, at some point, it switched to females wore earrings and the men did not. So I do know that for a fact. And as far as makeup is concerned, if you look at all the Egyptian,
right, they always had their eyeliner.
You know, they wore makeup. Mm-hmm. So yes, makeup. You know, the earrings and all that kind of stuff. A lot of the jewelry were men characteristics back then, and then of course the women adapted it, and the men kind of cut it off. You're looking at me kind of crazy over there. What's up?
You know, I mean,
but when it comes to sexuality, right? Mm-hmm. I could go into the whole Caucasian, you know, mixture in this phase.
Well, we gonna let you.
Say whatever you want.
because they were the ones that pulled out the you know what I'm saying, the Greeks and the Italians and all of them. They were the ones that pulled out the homosexual. They were the first ones to start pulling out the homosexual stuff.
Do you think that people are just exploring more with their bodies and realizing that things feel good?
I don't know. Hold that thought. I want to get so we got your perspective, but we want to get this brother is married, but he see what's going on, so we want to get this brother perspective. Yes. Mr. Flip the Hold, are you there?
Yes, sir. You can hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. What is your take on this? Are you seeing women choosing the studs and not the black men? Like, what is your take?
Man, you know, that's a lot to uncover right there. But to answer, I'm seeing it every single day.
Where are you guys seeing this?
I'm an entrepreneur, so I deal with a lot of people, and I don't know if it's because I'm getting older or I'm just recognizing what's been going on. But I know when I was younger, I just didn't see as much activity. For example, I got 2 nieces, maybe 3 nieces, and one of my nieces young, and my youngest daughter, like, you know, like everybody just want to be a stud or want to be with one. I don't know.
So you think that the black man is losing the race when it comes to the black family?
I mean, it go a lot deeper than this subject, but on this perspective, it's definitely a part of it.
So you think so if you are at a restaurant or at the club, you're basically saying you could lose out on a stud just because you're simply, but how would I be able to tell? Is it the approach?
Well, okay, I had a salon for 10 years, very successful salon, and I was cutting hair, and I got this one client. I mean, I'm beard, everything, lining him up for about a whole year. I mean, just nice looking dude too, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but I was just like, but one day I seen on Facebook that it was a GoFundMe for top surgery. I never knew what that was, so I asked my wife, because I'm thinking like, what is that? I'm like, top. So I asked my wife, she said, that's breast. So I'm like, what? So I hit him up right away, like, hold on, you a girl? Like, I didn't even know, like, for that whole time, you know what I'm saying? But, I mean, just to say, like, that type of stuff, like, if I am in a restaurant and I see that, you know, I think it's a guy. Like, even for, like, me just being a guy, like, with the homies, like, cause that was my guy. Like, we was homies. We still are, so but it changed the relationship.
The stud talked, like, he spoke like, you know, man, like, you thought it was a guy for sure. There was, like, no difference, like, nothing.
Lining the beard up every week. I'm talking about hair growing back, and I'm like cutting it back off.
Yeah, he probably was taking the hormone shots or something, or the testosterone shot.
You know, I have to say, I have not seen this yet in the Spanish community, and I don't know why. So that's why, like, I have not seen that yet. So that's why I'm almost like not relating. And I don't know if because so in the Spanish community, actually, like women are proud to be women. Like a woman wants to be a woman, you know, and they actually want to get their boobs done. And they're you know, but sometimes you get that, but like most of the time it's like a woman wants to be like Miss Universe, you know, like pageant. And usually like guys do want to look more like men, even, you know, even if they're they're like, I'm still want to be like a man. I want to, you know, so I'm actually not seeing it that like that's why I wouldn't know what it would really feel like, but that's very interesting that the three of you guys are seeing that.
Well, I know from the Hispanic standpoint, I know that you guys are more traditional in a sense.
Yeah.
And most Hispanic men are very macho.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And most, you know, I hate to say or proud to say, I don't know which one, but most Hispanic women are very dainty.
Yeah, and
you know
like
what I'm saying?
we pride ourselves in that.
Right.
You know, like.
And so, and you know, and a lot of Hispanic women are very submissive to their men as well. So that's a whole nother subject.
That's one thing I need to be more submissive.
Right.
But I'm like, no, I'm American.
Right. But with all that being said, that's probably why you don't see it, because it's probably not as prevalent.
Right.
And
it's not world, like
right.
More,
And to be completely transparent, it's probably not as the agenda isn't targeted towards Hispanics or the brown community. The target is the black men, right?
What was that?
No, I said good point.
Right.
But what do you think? Why? Well, who is like advertising it, or are you guys lacking something that now girls are bringing to the table? Because, you know, in the Spanish community, like we have the macho man, he's doing all these man things for us. So we're like, all right, we want a man, you know? And I'm like, no offense, but like maybe is there something that you guys are not doing? You know, are you not if you listen to a lot of Spanish, I'm just gonna go to Bad Bunny. It's so funny. He talks. Some of his songs are about like a woman he loves and praising her. Not at any point does he call her like a hoe, a bitch, or you know, he has one song where he's like, I have a lot of girlfriends and I'm gonna take them all to the VIP. But then when they interview him, he's actually like, no, I have like one girl, you know, and like he's always about this one girl. And in some of his songs, he's just very romantic and poetic when he talks about women. So he does have that mix. Now, when I hear like some of like these artists singing, they talk about like, I mean, they call girls a hoe, a slut. They talk about having multiple women, which is something that a woman would never want. Well, a girl will tell another girl like, no, I'm only seeing you because we tend to like love that way. Do you think maybe that's why like you guys are
that's a part of it. That's a part of it. And I say that simply because and I've said this on several other shows, hip hop alone, right? Hip hop is one of the main detriments to our community. Because of the images that it shows and
it doesn't praise women per se.
So if when you go back to the 60s, 70s, and 80s when R&B was the thing,
right?
Real R&B,
like love, right? And like spending time with people.
You saw more African American, or you saw more couples.
Right.
But now that they've taken R&B completely off the table, because you don't even hear a real R&B song. You don't even hear a real R&B song.
You don't hear like a romantic song.
Right.
You know, I was recently at the Backstreet Boys concert and they sold out. And when I heard every song, which obviously Backstreet Boys is, you know, they're Caucasian, but when I heard every song, I'm like, this is why they continue to be popular. They're all about love, like as long as you love me. Right. And they're like, you know, I don't care who you are, where you're from, but you don't just hear music like that anymore.
And so when you hear about so think about it from this perspective, and it's a great point that you made, but when you think about it, our community, our music are the only genres of music that does not praise the woman.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Our genre, hip hop, and what I guess what you would call, I don't even know if you call it R&B now, rhythm and blues or soul music or whatever the kid. You don't hear Chris Brown and Tank and all of these guys. They're not talking about one woman and making love to these women. They're talking about fucking and
Right, like that's
you know
what
what I'm
it, like
saying?
I'm like
And it's-
this is like about Bad Bunny. Like his most recent song is like, hey, your boyfriend didn't pay attention to you, so now I'm like, he's just like, I'm the one paying attention to you, and he's like, your body is making me happy, but you don't hear that much. So
which is
yeah.
why the African American woman has become so overly sexualized, because that's what she's been taught for now 30 to 40 years. Is I have to do this, I have to look this way, I have to act this way, because this is all I'm hearing. All my life I've heard on the radio and the music videos and the television shows
Right,
and
that's
the movies.
like all that.
That's
right.
all I know.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so, but the Hispanic community, you guys still have love songs. The Caucasian community, they still have their love songs. Everybody have love songs, and everybody's have positive reinforcement on television,
Right.
except for us. What we see on television, when you go to the paint, when you go down to the paint, P Valley, you see homosexual men literally having sex on television. When you go to, I mean, when you look at Power, which is 50 Cent's show, when you look at Power, each series of Power has homosexuality in it. You know what I'm saying? When you look at when Empire was on TV, one of the brothers was gay and he was having sex with other men on television. When you look at other programming, Hispanic programming and white programming and mainstream programming, you don't see those things on television.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's targeted, and so it's targeted towards our community, because if you break up first of all, you got to destroy the black men, right?
Well, hold on. Let's go back to what you said. So you had a girl, a stud, that you switched around because you complimented her and you showed her some affirmative, words or love language. So maybe that's what's missing, maybe I feel like, as a girl, we tend to be very emotional, and when we meet someone, we become their best friends. And I'm just thinking that maybe the best way to go around that is to showing that you're praising us women rather than you're just brushing it off.
But I think at this point, I think we're too far down the rabbit hole. And I think what has happened is, because you have decades now of negative envisionment, you know what I'm saying? Because of course television tell lie vision. You know what I'm saying? Because life imitates art, and because I've seen this, and you got to think, most of us come from when I say us, I mean African Americans. Most of us come out of single parent households, right? And so women and men don't see, all the women are seeing is mom who is struggling, trying to take care of XYZ, strong black woman in their eyes, and not needing a man for nothing. You know what I'm saying? And then because now you have strong black woman not needing a man for nothing, and then you see men coming and going, might have been sexually abused, might have been just physically abused, not even sexually, but just physically or emotionally abused, or whatever the case is. Now you're seeing all of these things, and you're like, okay, I don't even want a man.
But so I have a question, because a stud looks like a man, right?
Right.
So a stud is a man. So, but if a stud and a man are talking to me, I'm still thinking that the stud is a man. So I think that initially you're not losing out the battle. I think it's when it comes to that next level of.
So when you see a woman that's a stud, you still look at them as a man?
Well, because I'm not supposed to know they're a man right away, like your friend, right? You don't know at first.
Mm.
And so go ahead.
Let me ask you this, hey, Mr. Flip. What are some of the things you seeing where the black man is lacking, where the studs is kind of taking over?
To be honest, I would say the lack of respect. A lot of guys just don't treat women like women. You know what I mean? And I guess the studs know how to do that. And it's not that men don't know how, but like he said, like my brother Flower said, when it comes to this music and the entertainment, we want to portray this certain thing, and we want to have this certain image, and that takes away from so much that we need to be doing when it comes to the women. And the studs just definitely pull up, and they know how to do it.
So where do God play in this? Anybody?
Wait, what was that?
What was the question?
Where do God come in this situation? Like, is this against God's rule? Or like, what do we think?
It depending on what you believe in.
I think it depends on what you believe in as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Because go ahead. I'm sorry.
Scientifically, though, from my understanding, if medicine and all that didn't exist, you can get infections. Like women with women are more likely to get VB, which is an imbalance, and this will always happen. It's an imbalance of, your body, so two women sharing the same fluids, actually you'll constantly have to be getting medication. So scientifically, it's not meant to be that way. You didn't know that?
I didn't know that either.
Yeah. Same with the guy. Like you can actually get like this. I think there's like certain. I'm not sure if that's how. I really don't know the history of HIV or whatever, but I know from my understanding, it almost like started like that. Like there's different diseases that can start out by same sexes. Now there's a lot of medication for everything. So if I was to do it with another girl or whatever, I can just get the medication, get it over with. It clears out in 3 days, So I think scientifically it's not supposed to be, but because we're like, I got a kidney infection 3 years ago. And I thought to myself the other day, wow, if there wasn't medication, I would be dead. Like that would have been my life cycle. Mm-hmm. Then once I also had a tick who bit me and I had to get medication, and I was like, wow, that could have been also another end of my life cycle where I could have gotten Lyme's disease, So there's all these things that, scientifically I should be dead by now, but because the world has evolved and we've been able to come up with all these things, I guess it's now okay, right? It's okay for me to get medication and be alive. And I guess it's okay for all these other things.
So I have a question for you, right? So of course, science, you brought up the God situation. I personally, I guess the question would be, do you think that the hormones in the food is playing a part? Because we all know that, of course, they're injecting different animals and injecting different fruits and vegetables and so forth with estrogen to make them bigger, right? To get them bigger faster. And so and then of course you now are inserting this estrogen inside of you, which is a female,
they're
trait.
putting estrogen on the food. But wait, we're talking about studs here, though.
Right? No, but what I'm saying is, but there, a lot of this is playing, in my view, a lot of this is playing a part into becoming that, homosexuality or that stud or whatever the case is, right? So you have, guys are being more, becoming more sensitive, you know what I'm saying, because of the foods. You having females who is becoming more voluptuous because of the foods, and then a female, a stud in most cases is taking testosterone shots to become more manly, right?
I'm just trying to think of everything because I think that humans were allowed to be sensitive, but I think nowadays it's more okay for men to show emotions and be sensitive.
But is it because of the food, or is it because of the times? Or have you?
Because of time. Like now it's like it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay for you to cry. It's okay for a man to cry. Before it was like a man doesn't cry, and it's like no, men cry. My brother called me once. And he told me it's interesting. He told me he had like a little mental breakdown and everything. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like I have mental breakdowns like once a month. Like I cry at home. And it's just crazy that we're conditioned to think that like guys don't have bad days like girls do, but that's normal.
Well,
it's always been normal.
I would be the first to say men probably have more bad days than women.
Right.
But when it comes to bad days, yeah, does real men cry? Of course, I'm sure we cry not in the privacies of our homes.
No one knows that, but it should be okay. Yeah, but it should be okay.
But I also, us that was born in the 70s or earlier, we didn't have the microwaves didn't come out until the 80s. You know what I'm saying? And
right.
the different injections in foods and stuff didn't start taking place until mid 80s to the 90s. You know what I'm saying?
Right on, right on. Let me ask this guest one more question, Mr. Flip. Are you being intimidated by the studs these days? Because they really coming up. They doing big things. They doing things.
Oh man, definitely not. I mean, because I'm an open-minded person. I'm a see the world real big type of guy. I mean, I want as many studs around me as I can find. Like, not even just for females, just because, you know, ain't no telling what opportunities that they can get that I can't. You know, let's team up.
What do you think about that, Mr. Flower?
Well, it goes back to what I think her name was KK.
Mm-hmm.
It goes back to what KK was saying on part one, which is kind of having the best of both worlds. You know what I'm saying? And so I can maneuver, you know, and do things as a man, but at the end of the day, I'm still a female. You know, that person is still a female, and so they can still capitalize on certain scenarios because they're a female. You know what I'm saying? And so they can kind of dwell in both areas and both sides. They can kind of lean on both fences. You know what I'm saying? And it's actually more beneficial for them from when it comes to opportunities.
So if you are at a location and there's a stud next to you and then there's a woman you want to speak to, are you going to shut down as soon as you find out that it's a stud, or are you going to be like, game on?
Am I going to shut down trying to talk to them? I don't understand the question.
Say you're with a stud and you see a girl you want to talk to, and the stud also wants to talk to that girl. Are you going to shut down because you're going to be like, you know what, the stud is going to like...
You might get killed these days.
Yeah, no, not like that, but like you're going to be like, you know what, the stud is going to probably enamor her faster than I am. Or you're going to be like, hey, let's, you know, are you going to be like, nope, I'm going to go get that.
I mean, let the best man win, I guess, sort of say.
So you're not going to get shut down.
Yeah, it is a game on.
You're not like, oh,
You know
the
what I'm
stud,
saying?
I'm going to give up. Like, the stud is going to take the girl.
Now if we homeboys or homegirl, however you want it, I don't even know the correct. If we homeboys, then I might be like, hey, go pull her. You know what I'm saying? Or go see if you can pull her. And if she can't, then it's my turn. You know what I'm saying? But as far as a joint venture,
I got a question.
what's up?
So if it's a nice looking stud and this Mr. Flowers over here and both of them trying to get at you, who you gonna let get at you?
Well, I'm into men.
She's stuttering.
No, I'm into men. I don't want to offend anyone. I'm into men.
But they both...
I'm also about the soul and personality. So initially, it's whoever really once, you know, because like one thing's looks and another one's whoever talks to you. It's kind of like when anyone in the room, it's like, you know, there could be a million people here, but you're going to grab it. At first, you might see someone and you're like, okay, nice dress or nice outfit, but you're really going to talk to the person that's going to have more of your personality. I think more than
and I think you'll be
damn brothers, damn.
Yeah, and I think you'll be able to relate more with her because she is a female.
That's interesting. That's very interesting because when I go to a party though, like I always
From
really like
my salon.
What was that? What was that?
I said like my one client that looked like a guy that's very nice looking, just, you know.
I'm gonna go for the one that makes me laugh the most. I don't care. I'm gonna go for the one that makes me laugh the most. Like
we got some real problems, brothers.
How about you, James? How do you feel? Do you think that studs are taking over?
Yes, I do.
So would you, if you saw a hot girl and your friend is a stud and your friend is like, that girl's hot, and you're like, yeah, she's hot, are you gonna shut down because you're gonna feel that like if both of you talk to that girl, the stud is gonna win? Or are you gonna...
You said the stud, my friend?
Yeah, it could be a friend. You know, it doesn't even matter. Whatever.
If it's not my friend, then I'm gonna get out the way because I don't want to get killed. Studs out here got guns and everything, so you know they real serious.
So you guys are intimidated by studs?
I wouldn't say intimidated, but I will say it's an unfair advantage for them. You're
gonna have to start dating then other type of girls. No, I think.
But you just said though. You just said it doesn't depend. You know what I'm saying? If a stud was here and I was here,
yeah,
it's who makes you laugh or who makes you feel the best.
I think that's what you guys should. Yeah,
right.
Like personality.
And so personalities is great, but a woman is a woman, and a woman can relate better to another woman.
Yeah, but I don't want any catty girl around me. Girls are catty. Girls are very specific.
So it sounds like the,
I like
the
the game
stud
guy.
and the man, like in your situation, young lady, I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
Yes, my name is
Like,
Tiffany.
they would confuse you. So, like, you would have to make a choice.
Yeah, you know, I would say whoever's making me laugh the most. I think that I don't know. I mean, I don't know if maybe it's because when I see a guy, I'm more attracted. But at a party, I end up usually like it with the hottest guy. I'm like, oh, he's hot, and I start talking to him, and I'm kind of like, if I have friends there, I'll be like, hey guys, like I'm talking to someone. It's like, leave me alone. And for me, I feel like a girl energy. I'm just like, I know how girls are. All my friends are like this. Like once you become very good friends with a girl's calling you 5 times a day. I don't want that energy. I need the man energy. Call me once, call me twice, call me, I don't need someone like being like a whoop. Like I actually would get along, I think, better with, which is interesting. So I have 2 brothers growing up, 2 brothers, and I'm closer to my brothers than I am with my sister.
Okay.
So I've always had guy friends. And it's unfortunate. I was telling my younger brother the other day when he came to visit me, I was like, it's unfortunate that in today's day and age, I can't just hang out with a guy because I think he's cool, because right away people are going to assume things. And it's not only people, but he's going to assume things. It's amazing. And it's crazy that the only guys I can genuinely hang out with as an individual is with my brothers. That's crazy, because I've noticed that I have good relationships and I get along with guys, but it's if you start hanging out with a guy as a friend, it's just viewed as something completely more than what it is.
Well, that's because it is.
Well, I'm not trying to hook up with my brothers. You know what I mean?
No,
like, but I get along with them better than with my sister.
But what I'm saying, when you hook up, when you hanging out with another guy, people view it as more than what it is.
Yeah.
That's because.
But that goes to your point of like that you said I would probably get along better with a stud because it's a girl, and I'd get along with a girl. I don't know.
But I know there's some female stud. I mean, like dainty female studs, and then you have the manly female studs, right? And so if the manly female stud who acts like a guy, right, who has like what's her name, Young and May. You know what I'm saying? You have a Young and May, or you have one of these, very dominant, manly, she's a female, but she talks, walk, whatever, like a guy, right? Who's not going to call you and blow your phone up and want to be catty or whatever the case is, who's going to really treat you like a guy, right? Right? You know what I'm saying? So, it's one of those situations where that's what it is nowadays. So when it comes down to her or me, you know what I'm saying? Of course, I'm not gonna blow you up, you know what I'm saying? And it's gonna be one of those scenarios where, you might relate better to me because I might be more like your brother, or you might relate more better to her because she's like you, but she acts like your brother.
That's real.
So she can relate to you on both sides.
That's the dangerous part.
So, but I can only relate to you from a male perspective, but she can relate to you from a female's perspective. You know what I'm saying? And kind of go into that whole emotional tie. And she can give it to you from a male's perspective because she's manly. You know what I'm saying? She's like me, or like your brother, or like, whomever.
No, I mean, it's very interesting because I just started thinking about like, if I'm dating a guy and I have a best friend or a good guy friend who's gay, and I might get a little jealous if he's flirting with my boyfriend, which could happen. They might just, and I hear a lot of situations like that. So I could see, why there's a little bit more intimidation in today's day and age, which is crazy. It can happen. But I definitely don't think that I don't think a stud would be able to get me because I know what I want. So unfortunately, I would cheat on my stud.
Right. So I got a question for Mr. Flip and Mr. Flowers. Now, somebody brought to my attention that when we look at studs and we see the women they not really with the top of the women. We don't really see them with women like this and stuff like that.
I beg to differ.
I'm gonna give it to you. We are seeing them with some of the, when you look at the women they not really kind of like they kind of like 5s and 6s, or they might got or 5 kids, and the stud is kind of like coming in saving the day type of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Are you all seeing that?
I let him go first.
Man, look, I done seen some studs with some baddies. Like, damn.
Right. That's my
But
experience.
you know, like overall though, like that is mostly what you see. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I mean, it's both ways, but mostly it is that type of situation.
Okay, so you're not really seeing like are you? Is there a demographic then that of like in terms of like is this like also like if it's a single professional good-looking girl, she's usually not with a stud? Is that what you're saying? Is it more of like?
That's what I'm saying. But
Well. Stats show that females are way more promiscuous than men are. From a perspective of you guys, women are more likely
I'm
to
like,
more females as a whole is more likely to experiment than guys are, right? And so, and that's based on data,
right?
And so,
And ladies don't even know that though.
Yeah, because we always think guys are cheating on us. We're always like, he's cheating, like I'm over it,
right.
you know.
And that's why you have so that's why you have such a mix up of relationships is such a disarray now, because that's what's being fed to you, right? And so
so you're saying so men are more loyal than what we think?
Absolutely. But because you're running in the same, well, most people run in the same circles, right? So your circle of friends and women and the people that you hang around and the places that you go are generally the same, right? And so you're dating the same people because you're dating in the same circle,
right?
So if Joe, relationship didn't go well with her and she don't want you to be with Joe, she's gonna talk Joe, right? But you know what I'm saying? Or and vice versa. So it's you're dating in that same circle. So of course, you're no men are no good. I'm sure you heard this. Men are all dogs. Men are cheaters. Men, they ain't shit. This, that, and the third. So that's why you're saying that, because you're dating it. You're not stepping outside of that comfort zone. You're not stepping outside the circle. So you're dating the same guys, and all of y'all are sleeping with the same people.
Oh, you know such
So,
thing.
so, so let me address something, because we had a comment. Well, we got a couple of comments.
I have none. I have one hot guy I met last week. You see, like.
Okay.
We're gonna ask you. We're gonna ask you some more questions in just a second. Listen. So, and this comment is for you, I believe. It says, so she is putting her standards on everyone. Everyone is not bisexual, because you said you got the bisexual tendencies. We all have masculine and feminine energy. It's a spirit of Jezebel, greed, and not being properly learned. You want to respond?
I agree. I think that there's so many ways that this topic can go. I do think that we all have feminine energy, masculine energy, and I think it's all about just learning about yourself and being okay with expressing which side you want to express. And I think that more than anything, just being yourself and and being as authentic as possible.
So let me ask you a question. Okay, you got another comment before I ask the question?
We can go ahead, do your thing.
So let me ask you a question. I know you said you have tendencies, but you'll never act upon it, act upon the tendencies. So, question for you: do you watch porn? When you watch porn, when you watch porn, do you watch the man tool, or do you look at the females?
So I watch everything.
Whoa.
I watch everything, and I realize well, I can't say.
Do you watch studs? That's what I was saying. Do you watch studs do you watch lesbian porn?
I do. Yeah.
So how much porn you be watching?
I think I'm a single woman, so I don't have a husband that I go home to. So I think that it really is the same thing as if I had a husband, if that makes sense, or a boyfriend. I think that the same that people. Well, I don't think I was gonna say I'm a special creature, but I think that
might
I
be.
watch it as much as I would be with my significant other.
So so that's a whole nother topic.
That isn't you. I know you want to
Yeah.
talk about it. I know. We gonna get to that topic.
Like I'm not gonna, It's,
So
I know you want to talk.
but and that's another show. That's a topic.
We might do that next week for the 10th. Who knows?
So, but the topic is about the toys, right? And how toys are destroying.
She killing her energy, huh?
the crazy part is that I don't think so because although there are toys, I just love the conversation that I have with like a man that I connect with. It's just, I mean.
But you do mess
I
with
think
the toys. You got drawer full.
Yeah, I mean, we all grown.
I actually don't. It's kind of like you guys. I would say it's the same thing. Like, do you use your hand or do you use a toy?
Well, men, I don't know how many men use
You know what I
toys,
mean? Like,
There's some out there now.
but I don't know. I don't know too many.
No, we don't.
Or at least when they did, I don't know too many people who openly say they use
there's like
toys.
exactly. A lot of people don't like. That's another topic that I feel like some people may not feel comfortable. But I feel like if you start exploring, like with me, I'm just like, okay, well. Having a business, I'm like, okay, either I focus on looking for a mate or I focus on my job and then also pleasing myself. I have one life to live, you know what I mean? So I kind of like look at it more like that way. But if I have my significant other, it depends like where like our level of trust is, what we like, what's similar in that sense.
Got you. But that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah,
That's a
we
whole
gonna
other
because I
topic.
got.
We're going on
Yeah,
topic.
we gonna get. But I do want to ask Mr. Flip this. Mr. Flip, by you being married and everything, what do you think about same-sex marriage?
I think to each his own, man. Love is love at the end of the day. With me and my wife, we've been together so long. I mean, like we could write a book, the whole 7 series on Netflix. Like, but I mean, it is what it is. To me, I mean, we can get real controversial and biblical, but I don't.
Hey, well, let me ask Mr. Flowers. Mr. Flowers, what is your take on the same? So we seeing the stud women married with the lesbian women and creating families.
Well, me. Well, let me just put this disclaimer out there. Me, I'm not religious at all.
So let me, before you say something. So you religious?
I am.
Okay.
I'm not religious at all. I believe that religion does more to hurt people than to help you. I'm very spiritual though.
Okay.
And I guess that comes from my time that I spent in Egypt, and then of course the research and so forth that I've done after that trip. But saying all of that, no, I believe that you love who you love. You have a right to love who you love, and so forth. And so if you decide you want to go and marry, Mary want to go marry Sally, then hey, if y'all love each other, then go do it. Now, my issue, my problem is when you said Mary and Sally decide they want to bring a kid into that equation.
Whoa, wait, what you mean?
Because neither one of them can you can have a child. So you got 2 females raising a son, or you got 2 females raising a daughter, and you're bringing them into that whole and of course I look at it from a perspective is if I'm around that all the time, I then believe it's okay. I can do that. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen scenarios where females, you have a female couple, and then now they have a female daughter, and now the female daughter goes into that same lifestyle. So I've seen that. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't have an issue nor a problem with you loving who you love, and I believe everybody should have kids. But when you bring a child into that equation of a man and a man having a son, or a man and a man having a daughter, or a woman and a woman having a child, I don't agree with that.
Right.
That's where my disagreement comes into play.
What about yourself, Cassidy?
I think that today in today's day and age, it's so hard, it's harder than ever to find a partner, and if you want to leave your legacy behind, whether it's with your best friend or by yourself, I think that you should do whatever makes you happy. Because
Mr. Flowers, I got a question for you. Should we continue to focus on the black women, or should we step out the box and potentially date, Colombian women and things like this?
Well, they're black too, whether they want to admit it or not. You know what I'm saying? They're just not American black. You know what I'm saying? But they're black too. Dominican, Puerto Rican, Colombian, Venezuela, all of that down there, all of them are black people. Now, of course, by me saying that, your African American women, your American black women will probably have an issue with that because they said you're stepping outside. But you're really not stepping outside of your right. That's like me going to Africa, or me going to, and getting a traditional black. You know what I'm saying? Because all of us comes from Africa. You know what I'm saying? We're just going. That would be me going home to get a woman, but a American woman who has been programmed to think a certain kind of way would have an issue with that.
Mr. Flip, I wanted to ask you a quick question. Do you think that, as black men in business and entrepreneurship and marriages and all these type of things, do you think we're losing the battle when it comes to lesbians?
I need to
No,
ask this question
I
to my
wouldn't say that.
Instagram
Only reason
friend.
because
First stuff he knows, the new black man.
with being in the entrepreneurial world, studs is really like coming up. So like, it's a battle with being a black man anyway. You know what I mean? But from my experience and what I've seen, studs is really just coming in. So I don't take it as a threat.
So am I leaving? Can you hear? Oh yeah, I can hear. Oh, because you guys have your things on.
So what about like so we kind of losing in the relationship, but you think in business that we ain't losing nothing. You think we got it on the business here, but even with all these black men that's incarcerated and unemployed.
It's a good question, man. As far as relationships, I say it is a battle. Entrepreneurship, I say that's really the person, no matter what it is, no matter, race, gender, sexuality, it really don't matter. But relationships, I see it's rough out here. Like, actually my daughter just had a baby today, and
Congratulations.
I was just thinking, like, wow, she finna grow up in this whole new world of, everybody can do everything. And I'm not against people's what people believe in and what they do, but it's just like it's a lot of standard. It's no lines drawn nowadays. So but I guess it's just something that we gotta watch and just try to protect our own at the end of the day. But studs definitely taking over relationships.
I haven't seen it yet.
Well, let me just say one thing. Well, let me ask this question. So, Kesley, you stud or a regular man, you don't need no man, period. You don't need nothing.
I don't need no man. I'm just kidding. I was just in a dating show, so I do want and need I want one, but a stud cannot I should have put, hold on, I'm gonna
don't do it. We
so,
just live.
yeah, so,
don't
okay.
do it.
So okay. So a stud will not win over a man for me. Because I need a man. Okay. But I might turn a stud into a female girl. Yeah, I might do that. I might be like, hey.
That's how you do that.
Just watch.
Don't believe it.
I will watch that one. That one I will watch.
But I tend to do I believe that the stud is on a rise? I do.
Okay.
Do I believe that? Do I believe that they're actually taking over? I don't.
Perfect. Yeah, I don't think
but let me ask you this, both of y'all, Mr. Flip, well, all three of y'all, like Birdman said, I'm gonna ask all three of y'all this. Do you think the government and the powers that be is helping push the stud up?
Well, of course.
Yeah, definitely.
Can we?
It's not a show you can't watch. It's not like nothing as far as what influence people on the daily that is not like right in front of you.
Do you think it will go back though to that? Because like, do you think that it's gonna flip back at some point?
I don't. I think the floodgates are already open. And so the floodgates are open now. So it's hard to cut that valve off because you've actually enriched and giving them and giving them power to be able to continue to knock barriers down.
Right.
It's almost like I would say it's almost like the levees in New Orleans. Once one of them broke, it was over with.
Okay, I gotta ask my friends. You have to pull up the picture of the stud. So a stud is essentially a woman who is a man, and there is some competition right now. Let's pull up. Let me see what. So this is a woman, and she she looks like a man. She acts like a man, and it looks like they are taking over men. And some women are more likely to date them than a man, and there's intimidation. What do you guys think? Would you guys like fall for a stud, or do you think that you would want? What would be the right question? What do you think?
No, that's the right question.
That's the right question.
It's a lot of them
So
falling
are the
for
studs
studs.
taking over?
So-
I haven't seen it, but it looks like it's a big thing.
So again, there's gay or LGBTQ, LGBTQ.
I think. Hold on. I think you need to let her get the. No, for real. We don't want to upset the community. So what's the proper terminology, please?
LGBT.
Okay. LGBT, but Q is on the end.
The Q, yeah.
Okay. We don't want to. We wish we had a stud on here now. We had one, but she flaked on us.
See, I don't want to say because I started to hit the elemental P. I think that one of the comedians
don't
said
do
that,
that.
but I don't want to set.
We don't want to get the shot. We don't want to get the James Max store shot up.
But but what I was saying was,
I think what would make this show and give it a twist, we need to get a real stud, and you guys need to
We
go
had one.
and hit a woman and
We
see
had one.
who gets the most women.
well, I mean, I look at it from a perspective of, like I said, I believe that they're on the rise, but I don't think that they're taking over. And I think it's on the rise because
Yeah, I agree.
and I say that simply because, like he said, like like Brother Flip said, it seems like, and I don't know about Latino television, like Telemundo. I don't think it's on that channel. I don't think your Caucasian mainstream television programs are showing that either. You might see one gay man on there, or whatever the case is, and a lot of times you probably won't even know that the white man is gay. You know what I'm saying? Unless you kind of just pay attention to the mannerisms.
Exactly.
But on the black programs, Power, Pink Valley, Empire, just about every,
All
So
of them.
many of them.
it's just about every black programming that that you put on nowadays have a homosexual black man, right? And he's having sex. They're literally showing it, having sex with another black man. So
So this might even be influenced by just current events rather.
it's being put. The agenda is being pushed.
Right.
And so,
right.
because I've even spoken to people where even when you turn on, like if you have kids and you will put on Blue's Clues or Dora the Explorer or some of these cartoons, they're pushing homosexuality on those shows as well. So a lot of folks is even stop letting their kids watch Blue's Clues in the morning or watching these cartoons in the morning because the agenda is pushing homosexuality on them. Now, that's what I see. And then, of course, because women are generally more promiscuous and more adventurous when it comes to sexuality than most men are. I've heard stories about when you guys was in high school and you stay in the shower and the
What I've heard stories about guys too. Are you kidding me?
You know
I've
what I'm
heard
saying?
about guys going to camp in the locker room. I've heard crazy stories about
but
guys. So
but most men ain't going in the shower looking at another man, ding dong.
you see it
you
more
know-
in women. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But you also see in the clubs now where if you're in the clubs with your girls, you got one girl that's the bodyguard pushing all the rest of the men off and y'all are dancing and you're grabbing each other's breasts and slapping each other's ass and all that kind of, actually a homosexual act, believe it or not, even though you
So
just
what is
think
the solution for this whole thing?
the solution, I believe,
I think we really need to put it to test. We need to see who gets the most women. We need to get a stud. We need to make a follow-up show. We need to get a stud.
Studs gonna get the
Hey,
most.
you guys, it's like ready, set, go get phone numbers.
Well,
Let's see who gets more.
I generally believe that if you put the two together, like if you made it a competition, and I know some smooth operators, you know what I'm saying, from a male's perspective, but I generally believe because she can flip flop, right, that she will actually win the competition because she knows how to maneuver from both perspectives.
I don't think so.
Well,
Why not?
I just don't think that.
Now it depends what the competition is. You talking about going all the way, or you just talking about like a phone number?
I'm talking like Mrs. Flowers say, we gonna knock the stud and the female.
there you go.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, the stud definitely. I think the stud got the advantage.
That's so
When the
interesting.
stud knock the female, then we gonna knock the stud.
You know what? My brain is just like, whoa. I'm like,
You're fried right now. You're like,
Yeah,
you didn't know that this was a thing.
no.
And again, because it's not being pushed as hard and yeah, you do have Hispanic, homosexual or whatever, the LGBT you have in the Hispanic community too, but it's not as open and it's
Right.
not as freely accepted in the in the Latin community.
I got a question real quick. We see them pushing women rights. We see them pushing things for women in business. Are we seeing them? Have we ever seen any type of legislation that has to do with men rights?
Oh. That's because you guys had all the rights already.
What, white
What
man?
rights do you guys want?
The white man, yes. Black men, no, not so much. But yeah, but I just look at it from a perspective of, you got the community just getting more rights. You got getting women who's getting more rights, and the only person in this whole entire equation that's being left out of all the rights are the black men.
So let me just interject with this as well. Somebody said they're replacing civil rights, black rights, with LGBTQ rights.
Well, it's been hijacked. Just like when you was going through the civil rights movement, they hijacked the civil rights movement with women's rights, right? And then of course, after George, and then of course you started having, and they're giving the LGBTQ rights based on what was established during the civil rights movement. And so because of the legislations and the Supreme Court decisions and stuff that was made then based on the civil rights movement is what's giving the freedoms to the LGBTQ community. You know what I'm saying? And so the legislation, the wording, all of that stuff that was including us as a community, as an African American community, is now opening the doors for them. And so now they are getting the rights based on that door being open, but they're capitalizing on theirs. We're still, we just talked about this last week with the we're still killing and doing all the foolishness, you know what I'm saying, which is turning a blind eye to the stuff that we're fighting for, because everybody's so much looking at what we're doing to each other versus you want us to do this, but you're doing this to each other. You understand what I'm saying? And so that's where we're kind of defaulting at, because we're too busy killing off each other that they let them kill off each other. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but I forget where I was going with that. I forget what the question was even initially, but yeah, that's where we're at.
Mr. Flip, what can you say to kind of cap this thing off from your perspective?
Oh man, basically at the end of the day, man, look, the end of the day. So if we feel is any competition with studs or whatever, we just gotta make sure we stay firm on what it is that we want to do, and really just stick to what's important and improve ourselves. You know what I'm saying? And I know it's not so easy, but you know, if what's not a little hard, it just makes it. I'm just trying to put it the right way and trying not to be politically right at the same time. So excuse me, but at the end of the day, I say, look, studs gonna be studs. I got some cool ass studs. Shout out Swaggy if you ever see this. You know what I'm saying? Like, you my favorite stud ever. But at the end of the day, we just got to do what we got to do and stick to what's important.
Let them know what you got going on. Let them know about your podcast and everything. Let them know all the information about you right now, brother. Tell it.
Oh, yeah. You know, Dante, Mr. Flip to Hole, on Instagram, Flip to Hole podcast. Please go follow that because I drop a lot of information about entrepreneurship, real estate, and that's really what I focus on every single day of my life. Just trying to build a legacy. And it's flip to whole because we all in that flip mindset. We always want everything to come real fast. So what I've learned over the years and over 20 years of entrepreneurship, I'm like, we have to learn how to hold. So I'm like, we got to go flip to hold. We flip to gain capital to buy assets to hold, man. And that's what I try to preach. And I try to teach it on the most basic levels. And that way people can understand and get inspired to even take the first steps to do something that they believe in, man. That's what the flip to hold, and that's what I'm about for the rest of my days.
And do you want to say one last thing to them?
Oh, man. First, I definitely appreciate y'all for having me, man. I love this podcast. And this actually my first time being a guest on the podcast, so I hope I did good, man. I know I choked up a little bit, but this is an opportunity, and I don't let none slip through my hands if I can, man. So, look, man, at the end of the day, y'all, listen, learn, be smart, and never give up, man. And grab that course, man, because my boy James Mack is the only black jeweler that I know, and if you watching this, I'm pretty sure that he the only black jeweler that you know. And this is a game. This man put me in so many. I could rant all day. I'm talking about, but look, whatever he got going on, check it out, learn about it, man, and look, be great.
Mr. Flip the Hole. Next week, brother.
Yes, sir, man. Like I said, appreciate it.
Yes, your final thoughts.
Well, my final thoughts, I do think that everyone is entitled to live their best life, and that I think that the right person will be for you. Whether you're, if a stud is gonna take over the girl you like, then that girl wasn't for you, because you want someone who really wants your energy, So I think that the most important is putting yourself out there and constantly meeting people. I think that the times that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna meet someone today, and I open the apps and stuff, I matched with someone. I recently went on a date with a guy that I was like, well, you're kind of like what I've been looking for. I don't know if it's gonna work out, if it's not, but literally like everything I was looking for, I like found it in like 1 second, and I was like, oh my God, thank God. That's what happens when you put yourself out there. It might not work by next week, and it's fine, but I know that like it's a number game. It's like sales, 5 customers may say no, 1 will say yeah. That one might be a great customer for a few months, then you got to go to the next one. So I think that
that's part of the problem these days, but I'm gonna talk about that on another show.
But I think that we also have a lot of people lonely because they're not putting themselves out there. I think a lot of people miss out on opportunity because they don't put themselves out there.
Let me ask you a question. Do you call a guy first, or do a guy gotta call you first?
It's so weird. I get a little bit of anxiety. I wish to call a guy first, but I kind of wait for him to reach out to me first. And then I don't really see any like I don't. It doesn't matter who does what, but I prefer a guy reaching out to me and like looking for me and stuff.
Mm.
I just I don't. It's just like within me, and like I wish I was different because I wish I was the one like calling, but I get a little bit of like anxiety, like, oh, what if he doesn't want to talk, like, you know, all these things. So I kind of like need someone who wants
And what's your sign again?
I'm Sagittarius.
Okay.
You wouldn't think that from me, right? From
Okay.
Sag.
Hmm.
But that's the only, you know, that's crazy. That's the only reason why I don't, because I'm just like, oh, what if I've had my share of relationships where like of guys that like are like, I'm busy, like they just don't want to talk, and like I feel like I hate that rejection. So I kind of like wait to see how interested they are, and if they pursue me, then I'm more likely to pursue back.
Well, as I said, you like what you like, and there's no wavering.
Yeah, but you know, I was recently on a dating show, and the guy had 3 kids, and it's not something that I would usually go for, but we started talking on the phone like every night, and he was the one like reaching out to me, like approaching me and everything. And I'm like, you know what, he's cute. Maybe I could be a stepmom.
I got a question.
Like,
how
you know,
many
so
in
like,
the last 6 months? How many guys have you dated?
my God. Well, you know, I'm looking for a husband, first of all. Dated, not a lot, but I mean, it depends what dating is. Like, I'll go on a date, get to know someone, and like, you know, not get to know, because, I mean, probably a lot. I don't know, like, unfortunately, I wanted to be less. Well, I was seeing this guy, Kevin, who was amazing, but he started using ecstasy, a lot of ecstasy. And he was actually verbally abusive, and I was like, I'm not gonna have that, and I can do better. So he says he's very successful. He had a company that he made public and sold out to a pharmaceutical. So very smart guy and everything, but now he just chills because he sold his company, and he just has too much time to chill. He's doing, like, you know, he's in Miami. He was doing ecstasy, and he like literally flipped my food, and I was like, okay, well, like, great that we got along for some time, but I can't do that. Like, I don't see that for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So then after Kevin, I met this other guy, Tom, who was I met him, and we kind of hit it off, but you know what, our vibes were off. Sometimes there was silence, sometimes there was no topic of conversation, sometimes, and we both kind of like fizzled, and I'm good with that. I'm good that like he's not the one.
Okay.
You know, and then I went on this dating show, and this guy, you know, we had a few things in common, but overall we didn't have a lot in common. Like, you know, I still like to go out a lot. He has a family he has to take care of. I don't see myself in California. He doesn't, you know, and just other things. Like, I want someone who aspires for a little bit more. He wants to be like a reality star. You know, so okay, I'm like, that's not gonna work out. Now I recently met a guy, let's see, you know, he's Colombian, I'm Colombian. He has a good job, like, and he's looking to be a business owner. So he, like, things that caught my attention. He told me that he sends a lot of money to Colombia to save up for like his business that he's working on. That reminds me of when I had my corporate job, and all, you know, I stopped going out, and I would save my money to open up my store. And now I have a jewelry store. So I kind of like those aspects of him, but I've only went on a date with him, talked to him, like, well, we went on the date. It was fun, but he said he's now back in Colombia. I might hang out with him on Sunday. I may not, but I'm kind of like, you know what? Let me be a little bit detached and focus on my business. If he says he's working, I'm going to work myself too. And if I don't hear from him next week, then I'm not going to beg. He knows I'm here. He knows that I'm waiting for him. And I told him, call me when you're back in Miami. If he doesn't look for me, then I'm just going to assume, okay, I'm single. Let me, you know, I'm going to continue. But if he looks for me, which it's like on his plate now, then great, I'll go out with him. This period, I do this with every guy. I give them a grace period where I won't look at anyone else. I won't date anyone else. It's just me and him until he proves me that, like, maybe he's not trying hard or we're not a match, you know?
I want you to check your social media, see if you got any, you know, any inquiries. But we're gonna come back to you because we want to learn a little bit more about what you're doing, Mr. Flowers.
No one has replied.
So, you know, with me, I just want to, you know, project that. Again, I reiterate, I don't think that, you know, studs are taking over. I just think that they are on the rise, and I think that they are on the rise simply because, not just because of life imitating art, but because we as black men, we just need to step our game up. I think we have fallen into the trap,
Mhm.
quote unquote trap, of thinking that we have to be a Tupac, or we have to be Biggie, or we have to be that gangster or that drug dealer or that hard guy. I used to say all the time when I was coming up, I would much rather be cool than hard.
Mm.
Because when you're cool, you're more mellow, you can slip in and out. When you're hard, you can't put a square into a circle,
Hmm.
right?
Mhm.
And so, um, plus that was just a lifestyle that I had no interest in trying to partake in. You know what I'm saying? Because I was around that, because growing up in the hood where I come from, you see that all the time. And so we as black men, we just need to step our games up. We need to become more, we need to class up. You know what I'm saying? And so, um, I think that's where we are. We need to stop looking at the futures. We need to stop looking at all those guys, and we need to start emulating. And because you might not like him. You might think he's a square, or you might think he's whatever. But the Russell Wilsons of the world is taking, you know what I'm saying? They're doing a
I
good
think
job.
more than anything, like if you're a man, treat a woman the same way that you would treat your guy friends. Like, if you see that you call your guy friend every day, call your woman every day.
Well, I ain't calling no guys.
You're not
But-
calling. I know guys that are on the phone more than me. I'm just like, I know so many guys that I see them on the phone way more
Hey,
than me.
I don't have that kind of time. But
You
you know what I'm saying? I'm not talking to I don't talk to guys like that. You know what I'm saying? But I hear what you're saying. You do want, you know what I'm saying, you do want to have that, you should be treating a woman with some form of interaction.
Right.
You
And I
shouldn't
would say
be
respect
standoffish.
too. Like I was like with this date that I recently went on, it's like the one of the first Colombian guys I ever like actually go out with, like, which I loved. We had a great time, we kissed, but he didn't like touch me everywhere. And sometimes we don't want to be touched on the first date. Treat us well. Like, okay, give us a little kiss, let's go out, and maybe let's go on a date next week. It doesn't have to be like right then and there. And then next week, let's get to know each other. Let's build a friendship, a bond. It's more than just like, there's a difference between we all think it doesn't matter when you have sex, okay, one night stand, but once you do, it's just you almost like you move too fast. You already killed that vibe of like spending time with someone to get to know them. Like, why don't you schedule another date?
Well,
Get to know the person.
I tell people all the time. I say, listen, physical touch is a great thing, but when you're learning somebody, or when you're trying to get to know somebody, a lot of relationships go wrong because you move into that physical touch phase a lot too
Right.
quickly. Because now you're not even worried about the type of person that you're with. You're either in or out based on the sexual experience.
Right, rather than like the human, the
Right.
emotions, the
So
real
so
soul.
you're either out because the sex was garbage, or you're in because, oh man, this shit was it was the shit. You know what I'm saying? So now I got to keep going back. You know what I'm saying? So now that interaction of getting to learn that person, or getting to know that person on an intellectual level or emotional level, is out the window, because now you're so concentrating on how that thing works.
Right. Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? And so I tell people, and I'm not a Steve Harvey kind of guy. I mean, I like Steve Harvey, but I'm not that 90-day window type dude. You know what I'm saying? Of course, you go with the flow, but at the same time, you do want to have that interaction, because, of course, as a business owner, we now have something to lose. You know what I'm saying? So if we just jump into straight sex right off the rip, then we're not in it for the right reasons at that point. And now we're more susceptible to, something coming about that might not, that might have us lose, or we might have to give up something just to try to get rid of that individual.
I think the most important is just being with people that make you feel good, and I think in whatever relationship, whether
Do
it's
something to make me
son
feel
or
good.
girl, whatever, whoever makes you feel the best.
So I mean, but
Who's making you feel like a queen.
right, but but with all that being said, and I do 100% agree with you. But with all that being said, I do think that as a whole, and to close this topic out, we just have to, as a society, yes, you deserve to love who you love. If you want to do what you do what you do. But from a stud taking over perspective, or is they becoming the new black men? No, they're not becoming the new black men. They are just emulating what they're seeing from black men.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And then of course they're picking up the slack from what we have kind of just thrown away. And so that's why you're starting to see so much of it, because women as a whole has gotten so tired of men as a whole and the foolishness and the garbage that comes with the stigma of a man, right? And so because the stigma of the man has become extremely derogatory and negative, they would much rather deal with each other than to deal with us from a long-term perspective.
Mm.
And so that's where all of this is coming from.
Kesley, tell them more about yourself, what you do, where they can find you, all that good stuff.
Yes. So my store is called Kesley Boutique, KesleyBoutique.com, KESLEY, and then boutique. We have all sterling silver. I do have a physical location. It's a pop-up shop here in Miami, in Brickell. And we have what we call a Brickell or Miami discount. Everything is 30, 40, 50, and it's all like, I mean, you know, it's the same quality as a Tiffany's, Pandora, David Yurman. You can shower with it and everything. It's a very nice place to come and get a piece of jewelry that you'll have a lifetime. But I'm also online, and we offer 1-year warranty for everyone. Our jewelry is picked out by, our jewelry comes from everywhere in the world, different manufacturing teams around the world who create designs, and we choose based on 6 personalities. So we have jewelry that defines, you know, the edgy person, the classic, the fashionista, boho, sporty, and everything is unisex. So we have earrings. You know, we don't believe that jewelry has a gender. We have pearls, men, you know, for men and women, it doesn't even matter. We're actually seeing that like men are buying as much jewelry as women. So we're really looking to we just more than anything get the pieces that are trending. You know, ear cuffs are now in for men and women, and we're just happy to be able to have the Instagram trends in store.
So are the pieces that you currently wearing, are those your pieces?
Yes. So I actually combine a few things. I have several designers that I love. So I love Tiffany. So I have one Tiffany's ring and I combine it with my jewelry. So I'm all about gemstones. So this is a citrine by Elsa Peretti. She is an amazing designer. And then I have a rose quartz for love. This is also from my store. This is a topaz. I'm all about the crystals. So topaz is the birthstone for December. And this hand chain is from my store. This is David Yurman. I love Tiffany's and David Yurman. They're like my favorite designers because I think that they have very unique designs. And I love their marketing strategy and everything. But I have to say my favorite pieces are my own. And then I have some, some colorful cubic zirconias here, but all of this jewelry you can shower with, never have to take it off, and they're lifetime pieces.
That's what's up. Mr. Flowers, what you doing? Where they can find you?
Well, you can find me at Suntastic1 on Instagram. You can also find me at The Status on YouTube, as well as if you know, I actually have a financial company here in Brickell as well. I'm over on 7th Street for you guys that know Miami pretty well. I also have a trucking automations company that we are now getting ready to jump into the solar paneling for your roofs. And so those 3 things is taking up the vast majority of my time. And we actually had just started a new program with the financial company where if you actually are needing some capital, we can actually utilize your house or your property to fund to get you some capital for your business or to get you out of debt as a whole, right? And so go more in detail with that. But again, you can hit me at Suntastic1 on Instagram, Curran R. Flowers on Facebook, or you can just email me directly at curranflowers@gmail.com.
I'm Mr. James Mack, and I just want to say, if there's any stud out there that thinks he can get more women than me, bring it on.
Bring the studs. Bring the studs. I want to meet. I almost want a stud to hit on me so that I can just like see if I will fall for a stud.
Well, we're gonna try to arrange that soon.
They're gonna bring studs over to me.
We're gonna bring a
and
stud
it's
to
gonna be
you.
secret studs to see if I fall in love with a stud. I don't think it's gonna happen. But
We gonna find one.
I actually the next segment I want to get a stud and I want a stud to compete with both of these guys.
It ain't
on
no
getting phone
competition.
numbers because I don't think that
It
there's
ain't no
competition.
We gotta bring the stud on the show first and see if the stud got the right attitude. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
that's the
if
show.
the stud has
40,
the
I
same
got
way.
43 years of experience. my
Yeah,
brother.
we don't want to get pistol whipped by no stud. Them stud pistol whipping brothers. He
43
said.
years of experience. But yeah, but go ahead.
Hey, that's been the
Oh,
night.
my
We
God.
had fun, but it's a serious thing, brother. We need to step up and get our families back.
And next week will be the 10th show.
Yeah, we gonna pop a bottle with
This is my
champagne.
advice. Oh, amazing.
And you gonna be on the show, right? Because
love
we
it,
might
yes.
do. We don't need no man.
Yeah, I love that. You know what though? I know. No, I do so many things independently, but I do want a man. But I don't need no. But I've gone so. I don't know.
I like how you phrase that. You want a man, but you don't need a man.
Yeah,
Nah, we want to hear from women that need a man.
I need one.
Okay.
I need a man. But I need a man. This is what I want in a man. I want a man.
Okay, hold on. Let's
to-
put the camera on you. Listen up, fellas.
I want a man to
And
treat
studs.
me the way that it is traditionally supposed to be done, which there's no, but that's just me. Like, well, here's the thing. This is what I want, but my brother recently told me the opposite. So I want a guy to reach out to me and make me fall in love for him. Now, if I tell him I'm not interested, now leave me alone because then that's creepy. But if I'm interested, then call me once a week. Let's go out. Let's have fun. Now, my brother told me that he likes when a girl approaches him. That he told me he actually doesn't approach girls, and I was like, Kevin, you have to approach girls, and he's like, no.
I don't know. I don't really be sweating too many females myself. I like those who like me.
You see, I think maybe it's more about like, yeah, if you're. For me, it's like if I go to a place and the guy that I like hasn't like reached out to me, I'm okay with leaving without him. Like. Reaching out to me because then I feel that maybe he didn't want me enough, but he could feel that way too.
That's a Sagittarius trait, I think. But
Actually, it's not.
Well, we're gonna discuss that. Have you took a man on a date?
Yeah.
On the first date?
Yeah, it's just something that unfortunately for me, I've had guys that will call me a sugar mama, and I don't like that. I really like I think that the Spanish, when it comes to dates, I'll be like, I'm always the one to offer. And someone told me it's because I have that provider mentality. I'm always like, no, let me pay. And unfortunately, like most guys say, okay. And I don't know if it's because they're being cheap, if it's because they just don't know how to say no or what it is. But I've actually found more guys to be okay with that than not be okay with that. And growing up, I was raised that, the guy should pay, or at least pride himself in paying. And I feel like I keep meeting these guys that pride themselves in me paying to the point that now I've decided to date differently. I keep hearing, I was watching this show about this guy spent all his money on his mistress. And I was like, you know what? Maybe that's what I need. I need a guy to spend some of his money on me too. We all work hard, and I do think it's an equal thing. But I just realized what I think will make me happy long term is a guy who is paying for me. I want someone who's
Mr. Flowers, I got a question for you.
What's up?
I want to be a girl.
Would you let her pay for you on the first date?
No.
Why not?
What if I insisted? I'm like, oh, here, I'll pay. I got it.
Mm-mm.
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Because that's not her position. My position as a man is to especially, I mean, on a date period, but especially on the first date.
What if she What if she told you what restaurant she want to go to? Like, I want to take you on a date. I want to go to this restaurant.
Well, that's not her position either.
Well, this is what this is what my family told me too. Here's the thing. Yeah, I shouldn't. So if I say let's go here, and you say okay, it's because you basically have agreed to pay. Now, if you're like, hey, I don't have money, then I could be like this one guy in my building I was seeing when I was injured. I was like, hey, let's go here, and he's like, hey, I'm broke. I don't have money. I was like, okay, don't worry, I'll pay because I just want to. And you know what? I was willing to flex for kind of like be flexible with him. I told him, I was like, well, let's just go. It's just I don't want to be in my apartment. I want to go to a nice place. I want a nice dinner. I don't care who pays. I'll pay. But then that's when he started calling me his sugar mama and started suggesting all these restaurants we should go to. And I'm like, that's actually kind of rude.
Well, he a sucker. He a sucker. I don't know, but he's a sucker for that.
But some guys don't mind being demasculated.
You think that's demasculated?
If you tell me where you want to go and all that kind of stuff, and you're gonna pay for it, I'm not the woman. I'm not the woman in the relationship. Now, I will say this.
But I mean,
no. Listen to what I'm saying.
We might have to do this on another show. How did this
we should do that on the next show. Actually,
but let me finish my statement, then we can go. But what I'm saying in reference to that. So me as a man, right? I know what my pocket look like.
Okay.
Right. And so if I ask her where she wants to go, and she says, let's go XYZ, then, and I agree to it, then that's fine.
She want to go to Sexy Fish.
But
the bill $300.
But first date,
she's saying she gonna pay for it.
But first date, okay. I'm saying to her, hey, let's go here. Because number one, first date, I'm generally on a first date, I'm not going to eat anywhere.
You should get a drink so it can be.
Oh, you ain't gonna take her to Sexy? Okay.
On the first date, I'm generally not going. We might stop and get something to eat afterwards, but we're going somewhere where we can actually have a conversation.
Yeah, I think a first date should just be.
You know what I'm saying? A first date is more of an interaction to see if y'all gonna even click.
But what if she say she hungry?
Well,
again, we're going somewhere where we can actually sit and have a conversation and see if we click. Now, if we end up going to get some after whatever event or something, you know what I'm saying? If we going to freaking Frost Museum, or we going to, somewhere, go-kart ride or somewhere having fun. So I can see what type of person you are first, right? Because I don't want to be bored, and I know you really don't know me, so I don't want you to be bored. So we're gonna have something fun to do and still be able to interact with each other.
Here's the thing: there's so many cheap ways to have fun in Miami. Like in Miami, you just
take
someone to the beach and like with a little blanket and bring champagne and make it a date.
Right now, some women will be like, "That's cheap."
But most people, that's the culture that we live in now. Okay. And so because most people now are so instantaneous, you know what I'm saying? My thing is, okay, if I'm dating you, I want to get to know you, right? There's a lot of different fun shit to do other than going to spend $300, $400 at a restaurant on the first date.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think, on the first date, my whole thing is you go to drinks and that's it. You don't spend that. I don't think you should spend that money.
You can go get some drinks and they cost $200.
Right.
Yeah, that's,
you know
that's very easy.
And so, but on the first date, do you really want to get it? Do you really want to get to that level on the first date? Like drinking, because
it's just not gonna get to where you want it to.
No. But I'm saying, when you start drinking, most people can't. You'll find that a lot of people can't handle the liquor. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you want to see if they can. You want to get them drunk.
But you don't want to do that the first date though, because the first date, you know what I'm saying? Because of course, some people when they get that liquor in them, when they get that truth serum in them, they turn into who they turn. They turn into somebody. You know what I'm saying? And so you really don't want, and if especially, some guys might be like, oh shit, I want that. But some guys would be like, you know what, I don't really want to go that route with you on the first date, because once you go that route, then again, like I just said probably 15 minutes ago, once you get into that whole phase, then you're thinking about that particular situation. And the whole getting to know you is thrown out the window. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm just being real.
That's real.
You know what I'm saying? So some guys,
you gonna get to know her.
You gonna get to know the hell out of her. But
we gonna close this thing out. Cassidy gotta go. We gotta go too. Look, it's been beautiful. It's been wonderful. We gonna see y'all next week.
I feel like I could talk with you guys all day.
That's what we do.
Really go into so many topics. I think we went into it at least 5, and they were all good. And
next week we having Cassidy back if she comes back.
Back next week.
And we gonna we gonna touch on something.
I love it. I love
Kind
it.
of,
There's so many topics
like
that I'm like,
subject.
we should talk about that.
All right, y'all. We out. Love y'all.
Bye.